Alright, so we are now on day 2, and we are solving systems with substitution. Quick review. Yesterday, in our notes, we talked about systems of equations. Remember, systems of equations when we have multiple lines of linear equations, and we're trying to find out what coordinate can substitute in to make both of those statements true. Yesterday, we used graphing. And if I go back and I look, I should have put mine away. And sorry, I'm getting it out. And I look at my homework. What did you guys not like, and what did you like about solving the system equation by graphing? What was difficult about yesterday's homework? Andrew?
Well, it was difficult finding out that I didn't know how to do anything.
But what made that hard?
I don't know. I feel like it was hard solving the equation.
Okay. So difficult solving the equation to get it first, so I knew how to graph it.
I feel like either graphing it was a little.
So the actual graphing of it, right? Yeah, I had on number 4. I have negative 0.53. If I look at where they intersect, I'm guessing that that's negative 0.5. I'm not positive. It looks like it's halfway, but what if it's negative 0.4? Negative 0.6? Could that really been the answer? Yeah. When I did my lines, I can see like right here, my line on number 1 isn't quite on my dot. So when I graphed it, I had to use as precision, as much precision as I could, be as accurate as I could. And if I was off a little bit, that could throw my answer off. So graphing, I didn't like it if the answer didn't land right on a coordinate graph, if it wasn't a whole number. So that made it kind of difficult. Today, what you are going to do is we're going to work on a second method. If you want to solve all of our equations, when I give you a choice, you can use graphing on every single one of them, and you will get the right answer, or you should, and you will get the same answer. Today, we're going to talk about a second way. This way is the method I use almost every time. About 95% of the time, I will use this method. I like it. The majority of the people in algebra, we just are working on this too. The majority of them don't use my method. Some of them like them, but a lot of them said no, they like the next method, the third one. I like this one, so we're going to go over this one as well. We've done graphing. Today we're doing substituting. Tomorrow we'll do elimination, adding and subtracting. So, for today's, make sure you fill out these notes with me. These are your notes. You're going to put them in your notebook to help you with today's homework. So, we are working on the substitution method. The key word there is substitution. We're going to sub something in. The steps to solve, very easy. Please make sure you're writing these down. You should have your paper in front of you for your notes. Step 1. Solve one equation for x or y. So we're going to choose one of the equations in our systems of linear equations, and we want to solve it for x. That means I'll get it to say x equals. I want 1x equals. Or we can get it so it says y equals. We have to find out what x or y equals. Step 2. We are going to substitute this expression into the other equation and solve for the variable. Notice I use the word substitute. That's how we're going to remember this method. So after I've solved and I said x equals something, step 2 is I'm going to take what x equals and I'm going to put it in the other equation wherever I see x. And then I'm going to solve for y, and then I'll know what y's one term is. Step 3 I'm going to replace your answer into the revised equation from step 1, and I'm going to solve for the other variable. Okay, sounds like a lot of steps, a lot of work, but it really, the first 2 steps takes the most work. Step 3 is fairly easy. We're going to do a few of these together. I'm going to go ahead and preference this with the other, I've already told out 4th hour and 5th hour. We're not going to get through all the examples that are on here. What I'm going to do during 8th hour when I have planned, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to make a second video and I'm going to work all the examples on today's lesson. Okay? And I'll post that under my content library. I'll put the link on there. So if you're doing your homework tonight and you're confused, you can go back and see how I did any of these. Okay? Let's do a couple together. The very first one, solve each system by substitution. All right, number 1, it says y equals 4x minus 1 and y equals 2x minus 5. My job right now is I want to end up finding out x equals something, y equals something, and then I'm going to write it as the coordinate. I'm going to write it as my solution. Okay, step 1 says I have to solve for either x or y. Well, if I look at those, they're actually both solved for y right now, correct? It says y equals. So here's what we're going to do. This is how we substitute. I'm going to choose either one. I'm going to choose on my first equation. It told me that 1y equals 4x minus 1. Meaning if Ricky had a box and that box was y, and Tyler had 4x minus 1, they have the same amount. Y and 4x minus 1, it's the same. They're equal. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to go to my second equation. Think about a teacher. When I'm gone from school, I have a substitute teacher come in and take my place. We're doing that with this equation. 4x minus 1 is my substitute teacher, and it's taking place of the y, the other teacher. So I will take my second equation, I'm going to write it out. Y equals 2x minus 5. And right now, I'm going to rewrite it, but I'm going to substitute y. I'm going to take y out. And I'm going to substitute it with 4x minus 1 because we just said that y is the same as 4x minus 1. So 4x minus 1 also equals 2x minus 5. Okay, before I go on, I have to make sure you understand because that is the basic part of today's lesson. This is the most important part of today's lesson. Understanding how to substitute out. Going back to step 1, the equation, the problem actually did step 1 for me. They solved for y. They said y equals 4x minus 1. So anywhere you see a y, instead of writing y, you can write 4x minus 1. So we looked at our second equation, and this time when we wrote it, anytime I saw y, I wrote 4x minus 1. So instead of y equals 2x minus 5, we said 4x minus 1 equals 2x minus 5. Now, what I'm going to do, you guys remember 2 chapters ago, we solved equations with variables? That's what we're doing now. There's only one variable. This is a 1, 2, 3-step equation. I have to solve for x. We have to get our variables on one side and our constants on the other. So I'm going to minus 2x on both sides of the equal sign. So I have 4x minus 2x is 2x minus 1 equals 2x minus 2x. They eliminate. And I have negative 5. Okay. I now need to get my constant numbers together. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides of the equal sign. And I have 2x equals negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. Okay. Now I have 2x equals negative 4. I have 2 x's and I don't want to know what 1 is. So we divide by 2. X equals negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. I have now solved for y. I have half my coordinate done. I know x is negative 2. We then go back into the last step, and this last step's a lot easier. We're going to substitute negative 2 in for any time I see an x. I can go and use either equation. Does not matter which equation I do. So I'm going to choose the one I think looks easier. I think it's going to be easier to minus by 1. So I'm going to take that first equation and I'm going to rewrite it. Y equals 4x. Ooh, we don't want to say x now. We know x is negative 2. So it's going to be 4 times negative 2. And we're going to minus 1. And now I solve. Y equals 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Y equals negative 8 minus 1 is negative 9. Y is negative 9. There is my solution. The solution to this system of linear equations is negative 2, negative 9. If you would have graphed this, that intersecting point would have been negative 2, negative 9. So I could have used graphing and got the same answer, but this is how we substitute. We're going to try number 2, and then you guys are going to have to kind of be more active in feedback. We're kind of just sitting here right now. Number 2, y equals 6x and 2x plus 3y equals negative 20. Do they solve for x or y for me already? Have they told me what x or y equals yet? Have they solved for x or y yet, Tyler?
No. Yes, because the top one is y equals x.
Good. The very first one says y is 6x. And they already did this. Good. I don't have to do the extra work. I get to skip one step. So I get to say, anytime I see y, I'm going to put in 6x. There's my second equation. There's a y. So, who can tell me, how am I going to rewrite this second equation? What should it be? Alejandra?
2x plus 3 plus 6 equals...
Close. What? What does y equal?
6x.
6x. So we have to leave the x on there.
Equals -20.
Okay, we rewrote our second equation where we got rid of y and instead we put in the 6x because we said y is a 6x. Now we solve. The first thing I have to do, this is a 4-step equation. We learned this in chapter 2, I think it was. I know it's a 4-step because there's a distributive property. I have to be multiplied. So I do 2x, and then I have 3 times 6x is 18x. I distributed this 3 into here. Equals negative 20. What do I do next? When I have 2x plus 18x equals negative 20. Ricky?
Add 2x to 18x.
Like terms. 2x plus 18x is 20x. How do I get x by itself? Ryla?
Divide by
I have 20 times x, so I divide by 20. My answer is x equals negative 1. Alright, x equals negative 1. Now, since we're working on substituting, what am I going to substitute negative 1 in for? It's going to go in for x. I mean, x is a negative 1. So do I want to rewrite this equation? Do I want to input it for the first equation or the second equation? It's not a trick question. You can do it on either one, but one of them is better than the other. Michael?
First.
Why the first one?
Because they already have less numbers.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly what it is. There's less numbers. If I put negative 1 in for 2x plus 3y equals negative 20, and I said 2 times negative 1 plus 3y equals negative 20, I will get the exact same answer as if I put y equals 6 times negative 1. This one is less numbers, less work. I'm going to be as lazy as I can, but still do what I need to. So I'm going to say y equals 6x. I'm replacing my x. Y equals 6 times negative 1. Y equals negative 6. My answer is negative 1, negative 6. That is our solution. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more problems for you, and then I'm going to let you guys work. I'm going to do number 3 and number 5. Number 3, exactly how we did the first 2. The equation is already set up for me that I can skip and do step 2. It says y equals x plus 9 and 3x plus 8y equals negative 5. Do I know what x or y is equal to yet? Yes. Which one do I know? Good. The first one tells me what y equals. So, the first equation told me that y is x plus 9. Anytime you see y, just put x plus 9. So I'm going to take my second equation and rewrite it. How do I rewrite this equation? Someone that hasn't been talking and participating. How am I going to rewrite this equation? Cohen?
3x over 8. Wait, no, plus 5. No,
Huh?
I don't know. -5.
Let's work on this equation. 3x plus 8y. Can I substitute something in for 8y? What am I going to substitute in for the y? Huh? What did y equal? Nope. Y. We have up here on the first equation. This is what we did. On the first equation, we say y equals x plus 9, right? So, I'm going to see in my second equation, if I see a y, I'm going to replace it with x plus 9. So here's my y, there's y. Instead of y, I'm saying x plus 9. So when I write the equation, I say 3x plus 8 times, and instead of y, I'm saying x plus 9. That is the most important step to today's work. Take one of our equations and solve for x or y, and take that answer to substitute into the second equation. We then solve. This is a 4-step equation, just like we did in chapter 2. So 3x plus, I have to distribute the 8. 8 times x is 8x. 8 times 9 is 72. Now I have 3x plus 8x plus 72 equals negative 5. What do I do next? What should I do next? Done with yours? Alright, Tyler. Like terms. 3x and 8x are like terms. So 3x plus 8x is 11x plus 72 equals negative 5. Riley, what will we do next now? You're just popping with excitement. 11x plus 72 equals negative 5. What will we do next?
So, does that mean that x equals negative 5?
Not yet. I still have this equation. 11x plus 72 equals negative 5. I'm trying to solve for x. So what am I going to do to get x by itself right now?
Simplify?
Yep. But how do we simplify?
Dividing.
Okay. We could, but we don't want to divide by 11 yet because I'm still adding 72.
Oh, subtract.
What do I want to subtract?
5, negative 5, and 11. Or no, negative 5 and 72.
Good. This 72, remember, this adding 72 is on the left side by my 11x. I want to get 11x by itself. So the opposite of adding 72 is I'm going to subtract 72 on both sides. 11x is all by itself now. Because 72 minus 72, nothing. Negative 5 minus 72 is negative 77. Now, I have 11x by itself. Michael?
You divide 11.
Divide by what I'm multiplying by. So, get x all alone and divide by 11. X equals negative 7. Now, we know that anywhere I see an x, I can input negative 7. So I look at both my equations. Y equals x plus 9, or 3x plus 8y equals negative 5. Which equation do you think we should work with? Once again, you can use either one. There's not a wrong answer, but one is easier. Which one looks easier to you? Y equals x plus 9, or 3x plus 8y equals negative 5. Rylan?
Y equals x plus 9.
Yeah, that one looks easier, so I'm going to write it over here. Y equals x plus 9. And I know we just solved what x is. So I'm going to rewrite my equation, and I want to put what x's value is. What should this equation be written as? Who hasn't had one? Oh, sorry, again, ready?
Share.
What do you think? How am I going to rewrite y equals x plus 9?
Y equals negative 7. Would it be negative 7x or just negative 7? Yeah, no,
Just negative 7
plus 9.
Perfect. That is exactly what we do. When we had x, we put in negative 7. Now we solve. Y equals negative 7 plus 9 is 2. I'm done. Y is 2. Finding the second coordinate's always really short. We put an easier equation when we do less work. So my final answer is negative 7, 2. Alright. Yes, exactly. This isn't real hard, but it takes time. It takes some attention and focus, right? It takes that grit, that perseverance. I'm not going to, because of time, I'm not going to do all of it. I'm just going to help you with one part. On number 5, you're going to see about 4 of these on your homework today. Do we have one of the equations, 2x plus y equals negative 2, 5x plus 3y equals negative 8? Is either one of those equations, do they have x equals something and y equals something? Does either one have that? So we have to do one other step. I'm going to choose one of the 2 equations to solve for x or y. Tyler? Which equation do you think we should use?
Either one, because they're both the same.
We could do either one, but which one do you think is going to be easier? The top one. Here's my hint. If I have to do step 1 to solve for x or y, look at x and y. Here's x. It's 2x. This one's 5x. Okay. That's 3y. Ooh. That one's just y. If I solve for y, do I have to divide by anything? No. So I'm going to rewrite that first equation. 2x plus y equals negative 2. Solve for y. Subtract by 2x. Y equals negative 2x minus 2. I'm done. Now we do everything we just did on number 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to substitute I am going to substitute negative 2x minus 2 for every y I find. I look at my second equation, there's y. So I would say 5x plus 3 times negative 2x minus 2 equals negative 8. And we would solve. I'm going to stop there. I already told you I will work the rest of the problems right after class and I'll post the video. Remember, to find the video, you have to make sure you go to my content library and I'll put it right up here at the top. We'll have one that says today's lesson and one that says the problems worked out. Hold on. Make sure you follow because you have to do today's homework now. Your homework is a second worksheet. You can thank 4th hour, specifically Sydney. There's 16 questions where all you are doing is substitution, just like we practiced. Just like the video I'm about to post with all the work on it. You only have to do the evens. That means for your completion grade, you only have to do 8 problems. Okay? Remember, if I'm cutting your homework down, it's because I'd rather you guys get it done and do some work. I'm taking completion grades. So hopefully you try your work. So, 1 through 16 evens only. That means you're only doing 8 problems. This is due by tomorrow. Evens only. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 16.